All right. I know we've missed a day or two. Let me put this out there. Go ahead and get that started. Yes. All right. Feel like feel like I'm awake. I'm here. Yes. I don't know. I feel mildly off, but I'm sure that'll correct as we go. We haven't done one of these in a minute. I noticed the last one we did was like on the 9th or something like that. So did we skip two of these or just one of these? It's possible we just skipped one of them. Oh, looks like we did one on the 9th. We skipped the 16th, and now here we are on the 23rd. And I'll also say, slight sinus problem. I I almost decided not to do it, but I think I took a nose spray and everything, and we're going to see how that works out. Hopefully, this starts to clear up so the entire thing isn't like, so the whole stream isn't like super nasally. We'll hope that's a thing. But I think we'll be okay. Let me check that. What is that? Oh, no, we're not going to do that. So, YouTube did another update, and now you could set community goals for super chats and things like that. I'm not doing that. I don't look, by now, if you've been here for a while, I'm not here like begging for money. I'm not asking for money. When I get one of those super chats, I'm like, hey, thanks. That's awesome. But like, I don't know. You're not gonna see me here telling you, don't forget to subscribe and all of that crap. I don't do it. It's not, I don't know. Something about it always, I don't even like it when big channels do it. Like when they get on, it feels very entitled to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just something in my personality. I don't ask for subs. If you sub, that's fantastic. I don't ask for that notification bell. If you give a crap enough to come back, you give enough about no, no, you give enough of a crap to come back. I also don't ask for things like that. Um, I don't know. I've been telling myself I'm going to do the membership thing, but I don't know how I would do it. Like I don't know what I would offer or anything like that, and I didn't plan to do anything more than, hey, here's $1 membership, and we'll have once a month, member streams or something like that. But I don't know. Every time I think about doing it, then I feel off about it, and then I don't do it. So I don't know. Let's just be honest about the situation. Like, but yeah, like YouTube is really pushing it now. Now YouTube, like literally, the last update even added like tabs down here for me to be like, hey, give me money. Just I don't know. It feels entitled. Oh, there we go. I got that working. I'm pretty sure it's harvesting time pollen, so my head has been, yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense. And I live pretty close to like cornfields and stuff like that, so maybe there is something to that. Hey, what's going on? It's going. It's not going bad. It's just going. Like hopefully I'm not developing a cold on top of it, but I'm pretty sure this is all sinuses. But like I said, I took the nose spray. We'll see how this plays out. Uh, so far, Marvel Legends, not bad. So we have a lot of Marvel Legends. Like right now, the toy lines that are big enough, um, like the ones that really have a lot that we need to talk about. There's a lot of Marvel Legends and a lot of Masterverse that is piled up. Motu just doesn't really get votes, so I'm probably going to start knocking that out in individual episodes so that I can open it. that's like a part of it. I want to open part of it, and so in order to make that happen, I'm going to basically have to go out of my way and do the videos. There's nothing wrong with that. This show is what it is. It gets the votes, and then we open it, and then we talk about it. I'm not changing that. But some of the stuff that's piled up, like, I don't think I'm done with Masterverse. But it's at such a wind-up point, aside from a couple of the vintage collection things. Do I want vintage Evelyn? Yes and no. Like, I do, but then I very much know that she'll have all the same flaws that, like, Teela had. Teela didn't even get a pass. She really didn't. Teela was bought for me. Otherwise, I was not going to buy her. Now I have Teela. It feels like, at least to finish the main line, because I have Skeletor, I have He-Man, I have Vintage Teela. Personally, the four mains that I feel you should always have when you're talking about Motu and then expand from there, you need Evelyn. I'm not saying there aren't other mains, but if I had to knock it down like Ninja Turtles, I have like a four main. I buy the turtles and then I branch out to other things. Motu feels like that. In the vintage line, it feels like I want those four and then move from there. But then I have kind of a vintage. Well, she's like a classic. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Not that she's very easy to get anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter. It's really been taken out of my hands. But, like, there's a couple of things. Like, I'd like a Wondar. Do I want... See, I don't want Faker. Blue He-Man. I have enough He-Man repaints in this line. I don't need them in this line. I'm pretty much at that point of Masterverse being done. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Chronicles does. Because Chronicles proved itself, as far as I'm concerned, with the He-Man. It is a very solid body. It moves very well. Like everything, I'm very much looking forward to what that line does. But it doesn't get votes. So I'm probably gonna step off to do unboxings for them on their own. And there's nothing wrong with that, like I said. But you may see those videos start to crop up throughout the week. So I can start getting some of them open. And also to clear the cubbyhole, because I have a space over where a shelf is. And I've been kind of putting them in front of that, stacking them up. And Masterverse, because it doesn't get votes, is now stacked up to basically this window seal here. Like, so it's got to get opened. It's got to get opened. So I get rid of the boxes and everything, get it finalized on the shelf. Let's see. Got lucky enough to snatch up SDCC Professor X before he was sold out. Cool. I did skip him, but I already have the other Professor X, and I was like, is it worth it? I don't think so. If you don't have one, he looks good. If you do have one, I guess it would come down to aesthetic. Do you prefer the cartoon look? Some people do. They grew up with the cartoon. That's what got them into it. They want a cartoon look for their figures. They get the cartoon look. Do you want a more comic book-esque look? And then that really comes down to aesthetics. So I did not go after him. Also, because of my money, I did not go after the Spider-Man. But I want it. I think it's still available even. Which is wild to me, in all honesty. Like that I almost can't believe. And if it is still available when I get my paycheck, this should be an overtime paycheck, I will probably get that 3-pack. We'll watch it. but it very much depends. Was able to pre-order Beast. He sold out fast. He did sell out fast. And on top of that, I was able to get him too. I got mine from Big Bad. I went to Hasbro Pulse, and he was sold out by the time I got there. Like, I was picking some parts down in my area, and I knew that I had to be ready at about 12. My idea was basically to have to go pee at that exact moment. So I was going to walk off the line, go to the bathroom, make my order, and come back. But then I was picking, like, and I didn't think about it. I just kind of got into that state where, like, you're picking parts, you're moving, you're walking down the aisles, you're getting stuff done, you're working, you're listening to your music. And then all of a sudden I was like, what time is it? And I looked and I was like, oh crap. And it was past and he was gone. But luckily he did release on Big Bad as well, and I was able to pick one up there. At least I believe I was able to pick one up there. I did get the order in. Big Bad has only ever canceled one of my orders ever. Like, any order I've ever put in, their system seems to be pretty solid about how much they keep track of their inventory. Maybe other people have had bad luck, I don't know, but for me, they've only ever canceled one of my pre-orders ever. And luckily enough, it was one that I was buying for customs. I did not even intend to open it on the show, but I bought Chaotica because I was going to use parts and kind of see if I could do something on my own. And then I also bought the other one, which is more like something I was going to use for a White Queen custom. And then I never got to do either because that's the order that got canceled. And I was like, okay, because I didn't really have anything tied to it. It was just, hey, I might have an idea. I have the money. This would be cool. And so, yeah. Let's see. Watch the stream last night. Good episode, man. I was happy with the way that turned out. I've already been asked to come back next month. So I feel like it went over well enough. I enjoyed my time on his show, and I'm very much kind of looking forward to doing it again. So I did agree I'll be on his show next month as well. And I don't know if this will become something, because like, we talked for about a half an hour before the show, then we did the show, then we talked for about an hour after the show. And like, now I'm already going back on his show, so I don't know. We'll see how this goes. We'll see what it plays out to. Big Bad Toy Store switched my pre-order of Lara Croft to a waitlist order. Ooh, I'm sorry about that. Like, I'm honestly sorry about that. But just to tell you, they did that for me as well. I don't count it as a cancel because it could become a cancel. Okay, so let's just put it what it is. It could become a cancel, but look, they switched my Laura to a waitlist. It was almost right after I bought her, and then right after that, like literally right after it, like maybe 2 days, they then switched her to a loot box. So they are getting them in, as far as I can tell, because mine already went from waitlist to loot box. So they've already pretty much, and so now I'm kind of waiting. And something else went to waitlist. I was on the wait list for the Poison Ivy chase, and that also moved to loot box. So just keep your eye open, I guess, is what I'm saying there. Questions, thoughts on the announcement for the cast of the new X-Men movie? I don't see any problems. I just don't. Maybe some people are a little more stuck on certain things. Some of them look great. Like I just look right at them and go, oh, I could see that. That's perfect. I have no complaints at all. But I've also learned over the years that time and time again, they have announced actors that I go, I don't know if I see that. But I'm also not in the audition room maybe they're seeing something I don't see. And it has been proven time and time again throughout my life when they announce, hey, here's this guy. And I go, come on, are you kidding me? And then I watch the movie and I go, oh, okay. He really did do good. Like, look, guys, we lived through Heath Ledger Joker. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, Heath Ledger was the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You. It was like a movie that you watched with your girlfriend, or at least it was for me anyways. And then all of a sudden he was going to be the Joker, and without thinking about it, I was immediately pivoting. Oh man, I've seen him in the kind of movies he does, and I was wrong. And it's not just him. I could name multiple actors that have been in this position where you think there's no way, and then you get very much surprised. So like, I don't really take a whole lot of stock when they say, "Hey, this guy's playing this guy." I kind of go, "Okay, we'll see," and I kind of let it play out because I need to see what they can do to make a real judgment. And I've kind of learned my lesson over the years, being surprised by actor after actor after actor. I mean, look, if you'd have told me The Empire would have been one of my favorite movies of all time, and it would have been it would have been freaking Johnny Legs, like, I'd have laughed in your face because the guy from The Pest, get out of here. But wow, he's one of the best actors I've ever seen. Those Conan figures were cool. They were. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait for those Conan figures. Hey, what's going on, man? Motu is a weird one for me. I don't collect it, and I'm not even really a fan, but I get upset when I don't see product on the shelves or hear people say it's failing. That's interesting. No, that is kind of interesting. Like legitimately, because I don't know, maybe it's like having your finger on the pulse. Like, you know, it's a property that needs to go the distance to hold certain things in place. Because like, it's a major property for Mattel. If it fails, Mattel is hurting, and then that could hurt other lines moving down the line. Maybe it's something like having your finger on the pulse. Because like, when you don't even care about Motu, but you want it to succeed, and you go in the store and you're like, man, they need to stock up this Motu or something's wrong or whatever. Then it feels like you're putting your finger to the pulse. You know, I don't know. I wanted to I wanted to know if you're getting any more DC McFarlane figures, a Batman that came out that you might like. Yes, I am still grabbing DC. So DC McFarlane is weird for me right now. I know that it's going away. I know we only have the time we have with it. But I'll be honest, man, it feels like in some ways he pulled out the stops at the end of the line. And I wish he would have been ready to do this while the line was running. It almost feels like, if I'm being perfectly honest, he knew these were some of the things people wanted. A classic Harley Quinn? How long were people asking for that? A classic Wonder Woman? Why did that take so long? Like, there's so many different things. Like, okay, the Batman. He released a Nightfall Batman, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best Batman he's released because it really pulls on my heartstrings, and that's all I really care about. It has to speak to me, and it does. That's my Batman. Then he started releasing the capes, and I said, not that I want it, but maybe you could resell that Batman, with that cape. Update that Batman. Maybe you could find a way to sell me that Batman. Because, look, I'll be honest with you. This sounds stupid. I already understand before I even say it, but they're $27 figures. If I could save myself the trouble of having to get the X-Acto knife and cut off the other cape and put on a new cape and make the cape myself and do the custom, I can do it. I've done it with two of the McFarlane figures thus far. I fixed a Superman cape and I fixed a Batman cape that I felt just needed to be better. So it's not that I can't do it. I don't want to do it. If you're going to sell me basically the same figure with the cape that I want, the way I want, and have me pay another $27, call me a schmuck, and you would be 100% in your right to do so. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I will take the old one, take it off my shelf, probably sell it at the toy table for like $7, $8, $10 or whatever, get what I can out of it, and get the one that's the way I want with the cape and be happy with it, because that's what I wanted. I wanted the product the way that I wanted it. And yes, did I double dip in that aspect? Yes, but we all have, so we can all get over it too. Like, say what you will. Putts? Yes. But that's the way I feel. So all of a sudden, he was like, hey, Bill, you know the Batman, your Batman, the Batman you grew up with, the one that you like? I repainted him slightly and put that cape on him you want. And I was like, how much? 27? Take my money. I bought him. His paint job is a little bit different. He has the underwear. He has that shading. I hate the shading. Let's just do that. I hate the shading, okay? I can't stand it. I don't like when they add cell shading to figures. I'm not a big fan of it. It drives me crazy. I really detest it. I don't like it. But big old cheeks. On these figures, I've noticed he does something that I can appreciate. He doesn't really add it to the gloves. He doesn't add it to the boots. It's not on the figure main. So this is gray, this is gray, these are blue, these are blue. This, he makes black and puts the blue on the sides. I could live with that. It's enough that my eyes look at it and go, maybe those are black. And I just shrug my shoulders about it. And then he adds it to the face, the cowl. And it almost looks like it's on purpose. And years ago, as you can see, this is always a thing that they did in comics where they highlighted suits in blue. This always brought up the argument, is this suit blue or is this suit black? And where the sun shines on it or whatever, they do it blue. I've heard the argument many times. I've even seen full YouTube analysis where people are doing like full essay videos saying this suit is black and gray, but blue was a highlight that they used. And then they do things like they actually talk about her. Like even her, if you're looking at her, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, her hair highlights, come on. Oh, I know why, because I'm not showing her face. And it's, now you listen here. I am not getting this to focus at all, am I? My camera doesn't want to work for me today. Hey, come here. Camera, you do what you're supposed to do. Now back up. Back up. Look, camera, I don't know why. Why we always got to fight, camera? Why we got to fight? You don't got to be this close to my mug. Back up. This. Okay? Thank you. Now, can we try to focus? Can we try to focus here? Can we do it? There. See? Thank you. Man, see, me and this camera, man, we're going to fight forever. That's going to be a thing on my show. Her hair has blue highlights. Is her hair blue? No, her hair is black. So I get the argument, and I've often been on the fence one way or another with it myself. So is this costume, like in my mind's eye, if I'm going to do this Batman, it's blue and gray. But there is an argument to be had that it was always black and gray. I'm not going to argue that. And there is something to be said that when he's in the shadows, he turns almost completely black. And that kind of works. If his costume was black and gray and not actually blue, then that makes sense because the blue is just where the light hits it and you see the highlights. And then there's an argument to be made that it was changed black and they started using blue highlights and it used to be blue and gray. There's an entire argument that you can have. But all of that goes to say that when they do the cowl like that and they add the black, my mind doesn't hate this the way it hates the way that like other lines like Marvel Legends and whatnot will do the cell shading. The cell shading and even McFarlane, now that I think about it, McFarlane released a Green Lantern where the entire front of him is like, it's been done in a different color, so it kind of looks like the light's hitting him. But I hate that, because if I want the light to hit him, I will just put light on him. I live in a 3D space where things are in the real 3D world. And if I want the light to affect a thing, like they put abs on this guy, and I will just turn him so that the light hits him and changes. I don't want them to add the light effects to the figure, but I'm fine with it here. And I think they hit the balance because they do it on the cowl, they do it on the shorts, but they don't do it on the rest, so it doesn't feel the same as when like Marvel Legends does a Daredevil and adds a whole bunch of black in different spots, and now that's just where the light is permanently, and there's nothing that I can really do, and it kind of affects the poses that he can takes and everything. So like, yeah, I know that's a lot, but yes. So like, I really, really like this, and I don't see a problem paying for it, is the best way that I can put it. I will pay the $27 to get the thing that I want. And if I really couldn't stand the head, then I would swap it with the one that's currently on the shelf. Because as far as I could tell, this is probably the same blue. It looks like, I'm looking over there, it looks like the exact same color scheme as far as I could tell. So I'm guessing that if I really had a problem with the face, I could swap it. Because I doubt that the cape has any highlights or anything like that. So this is basically perfect for me. I have no problem with it whatsoever. And now that we've talked extensively about it, let's just open him. Let's just do it, okay? Because like, now I'm not going to repeat all of that in the segment where we open him if he gets voted on. So let's just do it. Okay, let's just open him. It's a little bit of a different episode because I didn't this, but there, Batman. Let's open him. Okay, all the stars have aligned. Let's open him. All right, he's opened. He came with expression hands, and they are just blue. He came with punch. It is just blue. He came with a grip hand. Gripping. For gripping things. Batman should not come with trigger finger hands unless it is a very specific Batman. So this I approve of, and I will once again say it why were there not grip hands the entire line? It is a weird thing in McFarlane that every single guy, it's not just McFarlane, okay? Star Wars does it too. Almost every single Jedi that I have on the shelf is holding their lightsaber with a trigger finger hand. Just make a grip hand. They can't be that expensive. They can't add that much to the overall sculpt of figures to add a grip hand, especially when you know that once you make it, you're going to reuse it 800 times in your line. That should be a standard. You should have punches, expression hands. Yeah, I'm going to say this. A common line in the adult collectors should have punches, expression hands, trigger hands, grip hands. Grip hands are for swords and spears and things of that nature. Battle staffs and such. A batarang that you're never going to use. I would also argue that in terms of the batarang, I prefer the hand that already has the batarang in it that I could put on, because like this thing is just going to get put in a box or get lost or something like that. It's just the way that it is. It's the way I feel about it. So yeah, otherwise, there he is. Ow, I just stabbed the crap out of myself. Them mugs are sharp. Like, it really did. That, like, straight up stabbed me, man. I'm not bleeding. I think I came very close to bleeding. I'm being honest. It felt very much like the kind of stab that you get from like a pin, like when you got to check your blood sugar. Like it was that. Wow, Batman, what did I do to you, man? I'm sorry. Those things are crazy. You could have went with slightly less hardcore material there, but there, and his cape is already ridiculous. Speaking in which, I like the cape very much. This is the cape that I prefer, that has the not the phrase, but these little loops that go down to the points. I like that one. This cape is decently wide, so you could do pretty much anything you want with it. You could wrap it around him, and you could have it blow off to the side and things like that. Otherwise, let's see if we can't. There. The face is not bad. And I really think it'll be a very easy fix. If I really can't handle that face being the way it is, I'll swap the other head on there. However, let us be honest, we've even seen live action Batmans that have used this exact color scheme. In fact, the one that we have coming out very soon, the 66 Batman, he actually used that color scheme. His cowl was not just blue. He actually had it where the cowl was black and then had like highlights and then went off and stopped at a certain point and became blue and then went off into the cape that was completely blue. So we've even seen this applied in live action. This doesn't look wrong to me. Now, had they done this throughout the whole figure, I'd have had a problem with it. And I would not have wanted it at all. I really wouldn't have. I'd have said, no, that's not for me. But if I was completely against it, I think I would heat this up, pull the top off, remove the head, replace it with the one that's over there, and I just have my perfect Batman. But this is fine. Did he need a flight stand? Yes. Look, I know it's an ongoing joke, but like this, while this is fine, this is a guy known for jumping, gliding, doing the, different things like that. He's an acrobatic type of guy. One could argue he's also known for just kind of standing around in the darkness and whatnot. So, I don't know. But yes, I honestly believe that he could have used a flight stand. And there he is. We've opened him. We've talked about him by chance, but we did it. And I'm thrilled to have this on the shelf. I actually am, because this is something that I wanted back when they first released this guy. I was like, dude, I want him to have the cape. Like that would have made him perfect. If he would have had the cape, he would have been perfect. Well, now he's basically right there at the edge of already just being perfect. He's exactly what I wanted him to be. And so, to answer a long question, Are there things still coming out from McFarlane that I want? Absolutely. Absolutely. It has to really catch my attention at this point. I'm pretty much at the, I mean, we're all at the end of the McFarlane line, but I'm pretty much at the end of the McFarlane line because I've got so much of it and pretty much everything I already want. There's very few things that I've seen that now make me go, oh, absolutely. But like he was one of them. I needed that. And I got Jim Gordon, by the way. Let's see. Did they actually announce it, Cyber? Last I knew, it was all still speculation. Oh, no. As far as I've seen full casting lists, I think. Batman World's Finest and Haunted look like good figures. Yes. Yes. And I believe that's the one I bought, right? I bought the Haunted Gotham or whatever. That's the one that I got, which as far as I'm concerned is just the Nightfall Batman. Yes. I did. Yeah. Yeah. This list, dude. Some of these guys are crazy. Like some of them look absolutely fantastic. Like I've kind of looked at them, and I've even seen people that are doing like mock-ups of like AI and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, I can see it. Like, and Motu also feels like it's in a constant fight for relevance. It's not comfortable like G.I. Joe, Transformers, TMNT. Right. It doesn't feel like an evergreen property. It always feels like they're right at the edge of being able to disappear. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. Get this in here, so then we'll go back to the chat. Oops. Okay, let's do that. Let's do, what are you? Oh, you know what? Sure. No. That's right. There, let's run those. Okay. Hey, Bill, hope you have a great day, man. And my question is, which action figure line do you think peaked and then lost its magic? Oh, if you're talking from a personal collector's point of view right now, it's Masterverse. Masterverse should have progressed into building into what Chronicles looks like it's going to be. That's what should have happened. It should have progressed into this with these type of bodies, with this amount of movement, with this feeling in the joints and everything like that. It should have upgraded and moved so that we could get like all the things that we want. But instead, they chose to like downgrade the line. And as far as I'm concerned, you can call it money saving procedures or whatever. When you walked the females of the line backwards, you hurt the line, and you hurt them pretty much indefinitely, because now the females at the start of the line can do better posing than the females at the end of the line. And personally, I don't think that's right. And then, while we upgraded the males in the classic bodies to give them the big giant chests that everybody wanted, that was fine. I felt that aesthetic worked for the classic versions of those characters. And then we kept the main bodies and things like that. But we should have been moving in a way that upgraded the line, not all of a sudden walk the females back. And then now we've got this problem where half the line feels wrong, feels like it's not there. And then we started the Chronicles line. And the Chronicles line is not the same size as the Masterverse line, so it's very much two different lines, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But now it feels like you're in this weird space where which one do you go with? And Masterverse is still kind of going. It's like at this weird point where it's kind of producing, but it's kind of not. Like every now and then they'll shadow drop something and be like, hey, by the way, this is out there. But there's not like a big announcement like there used to be where they were like, hey, this is the next wave. Come get the next wave. I very much felt like once they started walking the females back, once they took a cost-cutting procedure and they took out the bicep swivel and added the 90-degree elbows and completely changed the body mold that we'd been working with. Like they also altered the way the legs work and things like that. It's not by much, but if you take somebody from the earlier point of the line and you take somebody from the later part of the line and you look at the two girls standing next to each other, they're using different legs, they're using different arms. Like at this point, we changed how the figures work in the line, which makes them feel dramatically different. And if all your figures are ever going to do is just stand there, that's fine. But if they need to pose, they've lost nearly 40% or more of their posability. And I don't think I was the only one that had a problem with it, because you'll notice that almost as soon as they did that, they started releasing less and started releasing like less frequently, not just less figures, but less frequently in general. And now, like, you imagine that a line like this that had the power that it had, after doing all the Masterverse things, people would say, well, they already did all the classics and blah, blah, blah. They did the main figures. So like, that's the reason that it started dying down. No, because a lot of people were asking for vintage releases. So you're telling me that this line did all that it did and then did not immediately go into vintage releases and do an entire wave, like wave after wave after wave of nothing but vintage, exactly what people have been asking for with the big chests and everything like that, but they didn't. And the reason I think they didn't jump as fast and as hard as people thought they were going to is because I think that it did peak. I think that people noticed something was going on. It started to lose a little bit of its money. It took a cost-cutting procedure, and I think it literally killed its own line. I don't think it's dead, but I think that Chronicles, I honestly believe it's there to replace it. And in a way, maybe it should. Did you pre-order the Mysterio release, Bill, and first appearance Lizard releases this week? I did not know about the first appearance Lizard. I had no idea about that. I did not put Mysterio on pre-order. I should. Because that's the one I want. I don't want the one... I like when he's got all that, you know, the design. The other one they released is just like green. It's just flat. And it's fine. It would have done what I needed, but it wouldn't have been what I want. So, like, I think that's the one that I need. And now you're saying about first appearance Lizard, that catches my attention too. He comes with all the beakers and he's got the goofy face. But then, like, I have this Lizard. So, back camera, we're just talking about the Lizard. Do I want that? I might skip the Lizard. Because especially if I get the 60s Lizard, like if I actually buy that 3-pack, he kind of fills that position anyway. I mean, he's not the first appearance Lizard, and you could make your arguments one way or another, but just like I didn't go after the first appearance Scorpion because I have a Scorpion that I really like, that's all I needed, was a Scorpion that I remember, that was a look that I remember from my childhood that spoke to me, and I have it now, so like, that's it. I don't need anything else. So I might skip that Lizard. I might. I think there's a very good chance of it. But that Mysterio has my attention. I really should pre-order him. Especially because it doesn't cost me any money to pre-order. I can just cancel it if I can't handle it later on. I'm too old to know any of these. I feel that. I get it. I kind of looked across the cast list and probably recognized a couple people here and there, but couldn't necessarily call them by name. Yeah, I felt the same way. Henry Cavill, I love him, but he's not Magneto. They are clearly trying to connect with a younger audience. Well, let's say this though. When they casted all the other people, they needed younger people to run a gauntlet for 20 years at Marvel. Like, that's what they needed. And now, if we're going to make X-Men and whatnot kind of like the standing main storylines that kind of run through Marvel, that's kind of going to, I think that's kind of going to be the focus wave of like actors and whatnot, because there's so many X-Men stories and X-Men are so convoluted and messed up and everything that you can literally run the gauntlet here at the MCU with just the mutants for a while and we'll be just fine. There's plenty of stories to tell. They need people who are young enough to maintain as they go forward from this point. I actually think they needed young actors. And I also think that if they get younger actors who not a lot of older people know, I actually think it also kind of helps a little bit because you're not automatically identifying them as somebody else. Like most people, when they first saw Christopher Reeve, they weren't automatically going, oh, he's the guy from so-and-so, which happens a lot with actors where you go, Henry Cavill, I love him, but he's not Magneto. It's not that I don't agree with your statement, but let's be honest, that comment isn't made when there's a bunch of younger actors that you don't know. You just kind of got to go, okay, I could see it. And all you got is the look. You could just kind of look at him and go, yeah, okay. So that's going to help with some of these castings. I really do think it's a good idea to cast younger, maybe less known actors to certain crowds and whatnot. I think that's a good idea. I'm out of this new X-Men stuff. Not because of casting. I just know these are going to be unrecognizable characters thrown into a completely different universe than I want to see them in. I know we've had this conversation before, so I'm not going to dwell on it, but like everything that we grew up with was wrong. Everything. Like we watched Spider-Man, the animated series, and we constantly go back to it with nostalgia talking about how it was the best animated series. It was wrong. Almost everything about that series was wrong. Like it wasn't the same thing that you would have read in the books. And the Batman that everybody loves, Michael Keaton, he was wrong. And like the Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi movies, they were wrong. And so like we've always done this. I mean, Wolverine, the fact that Hugh Jackman is Wolverine to begin with and everybody likes him, he's wrong. He's been wrong from the very beginning, but we all loved him. So like I've kind of gotten to a point in my life where like I don't really hang up on that anymore. I don't expect to see the comic book storylines anything further than mild adaptation. And I say mild because now I've seen so many projects that would be considered wrong to the original source material, but yet I tend to like it and sometimes like it more than I like the books anyway. It kind of doesn't bother me the way that it used to. Now thinking about it, now I see why people are fan casting Lee Pace as Magneto. I think he has the gravitas and acting skills to bring him to life. I picked up the Chronicles He-Man and Skeletor. That's as deep as I'm diving into this line, but they're absolutely awesome. I haven't got to open my Skeletor, but that He-Man is fantastic. And I did buy the King Grayskull. So there's very much some things that I'm looking forward to in terms of that line and where it goes. They say we are at 10 minutes and Spider-Man won. So we'll run Spider-Man. And then I'll go back to this. This guy's like all wide and... Spider-Man. Changing. Black suit. Symbiote. Sometimes we have to call ourselves out. Okay? Sometimes we do. I have mentioned it before. If you release a Spider-Man and he's decently good, you're halfway to getting my money. And sometimes I'm such a putz that if you release a Spider-Man that basically I have that's 100% gimmick and has very little actual practicality, like an idiot, I will buy it. But I will call myself out and be very realistic about what I am buying. This Spider-Man has some black on him. And that is it. He does not come with an extra head. He barely comes with extra hands. He has this stupid thing. He gets a little ball of goop. But they said, here's a new Spider-Man, Bill. It's one that we've never really done. He's kind of got some battle damage. You like that? I do like that. I kind of like that. Cool. He's kind of got some black suit going on. You kind of like that? You like the black suit? I do like the black suit. Otherwise, it's just the same Spider-Man that you've bought like 4 times. You want him? And then at first, I was like, no, of course I don't want him. What kind of crap is that? But then I got to looking at him. And like my mind would not leave me alone about the picture possibilities. And like, dang it. They got me. This is, can we call this FOMO? I don't know. I don't have a fear of missing out with Spider-Man. If I did not get him, I would have shrugged my shoulders. Say they canceled my pre-order. So what? I have 2 black suit Spider-Man right over there. Sucks. Maybe I'll just have to make my own. It really wouldn't have bothered me. And this exact body, I'm pretty sure this is the Renew Your Vows body with the battle-damaged arm for the battle-damaged Spider-Man, which I also have. But a battle-damaged Spider-Man, and the way that I got him, I did not buy that Spider-Man. It was gifted to me. So, like, can you say this was FOMO? No, I don't think so, in all honesty. Because the way that I bought it was pretty much, dude, this could make some cool pictures. And that was really as far as it went. And then I had the money. And then there was a really cool possibility in front of me. And then he's also on the Spider-Man body that I liked the most. And I was like, okay, I think they got me. So I bought it. Sometimes things speak to us. They speak to us for many different reasons. And we like what we like. Sometimes we do have to be honest with ourselves. And we have to say, this was some FOMO crap. I bought this. I didn't even really want it. The fact that I bought this, it has sat over here for a long time now because it kept getting beat out by new stuff and we kept opening that stuff. So this sat here for a while. I got this on the day it released. And it's just been right there. It's right there. Every now and then I will pick it up and move it while I'm looking at other things. And I know people have seen it over here. And I just never opened it. And yet, my interest in it never died. I think that is important when we talk about why we collect and when we collect something that was bought for buying purposes. I want to buy a thing. Great. Does that mean anything to you, or did you just buy a thing? I want that thing. I definitely want that thing. Great. Let's see how you feel about it in a month. That is the reason that I tell you my main collection rule all the time in here. I have a main line collection rule for anybody that's new, and it has pretty much guaranteed my entire collection. Everything on the shelf has a story, has a purpose, has a want, has a narrative, says something about me, my likes, my interests. And if it doesn't, it's got to go. And because of that rule, I have removed a lot of items from my collection over time. I even have videos on this channel where I say things like, this is gone. Specifically, the one that comes to mind, I bought an Emma Frost, and I kind of low-key convinced myself that it was good enough. I liked it. I sat with it for a little while and realized pretty quickly, probably over the course of 2 weeks, that I hated it. I didn't like the cape. I didn't like the way that it moved. I didn't necessarily like that outfit. When I grew up, the White Queen was what the White Queen was. And while I don't hate that white pants outfit, brassiere thing or whatever, I just don't care. I would have been fine with it. Like, I liked Astonishing X-Men. I would have been fine with it had the cape been a cape, like a soft goods cape, and would have got out of her way. That would have helped her a lot, but it didn't. So that was a hit against the character immediately. Also, if that wasn't a big enough problem, there was another one. While she was in her own way and couldn't move, and this was the closest thing to posing that she had, was just this, her face, over time, that's my dog, over time, I started to realize that it wasn't right for me, for the way that my mind pictures a character. Regardless of what she looks like in the comics, regardless of certain situations and so on and so forth, and animated series and everything like that, it has to feel right. Like, when I collect a thing, I have to be able to look at it, and my mind's eye has to be able to fill in the blanks and justify it. In fact, we just talked about a Batman where I was able to justify on multiple levels why this doesn't bother me. But on other figures, it would have. But on the Batman, it didn't bug me that he has the black there and everything like that. I'm able to justify it through my mind's eye, the way I perceive something. If you said, draw this character from memory, I would have to go into my mind and go, okay, regardless of all the forms and everything I've ever seen, this is the way I see that character. There might have 2 or 3 different looks that really hit with me, but this is the way I see it. This is the way that I want it. That did not happen with that face at all over time. And sooner or later, I had to take her off the shelf. I did not like her. She's gone now. She has been replaced with the X-Men 97 Emma Frost and is so much better. So much better. That is the one that I like. It's the one on the shelf. It's the one I prefer. It's fantastic. I'm going to go let the dog out because I'm sure you heard her. She's a husky. This will not get better. It will get worse. I'm going to open this and we're going to talk about it. She is still barking downstairs. I can still hear her. I'll be right back. All right. Expression hand, wall crawler hand, whatever you want to call it. Web hand. Ball of goop. Stupid thing. Parker. First off, let's pull the punch hand, put on the expression hand. Does the ball of goop go into that hand? Kind of. See, it kind of like, it's got a bit like it works. It's got these little itty bitty, the ball of goop is like a tripod. It's the best way I can explain it. See it? And then, of course, we have punchy hand and web hand. And he is on the Renew Your Vows body, which is fantastic because I actually like that body a lot. And I'm curious, I kind of wish this was the web hand, in all honesty, but it wouldn't make sense because they've got to put the triangle, which they don't have the triangle because it's still forming. But then they have this, like this is coming across him right now. So like you got to ask yourself, why cover up that part of the spider and put enough detail into this, but then not do the hands with the triangles? I'm a little confused about that, but it's not too big of a deal. So let's see. Let's see if we can't get something here. Kind of turn the body in. There, it's something kind of like that. I really think these legs could be better, to be fair. Maybe pull this, because he has the toe joint. Let's pull that toe joint a little bit. Maybe play with the thigh swivel a little bit. Get something like this. There. See, that's really cool. That's really cool potential. Move that foot down. I think if you added a web, move the hand just right, this is pretty cool. And because we have those other parts, I can't speak for everybody, but I have the extra parts for because I bought the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man black suit that has that Venom thing. I could put that on the head coming up on the other side as if it's really taking him over. And this is just him changing while he's swinging. I could do all kinds of things where like I could literally have him holding the thing, the symbiote thing coming up over the side of his head here, or I could swap this head with the Renew Your Vows head and put that on him to where it looks like it's, and then have him with like one of the grip hands or something trying to pull it off of himself or something. Like there's a lot that you can do with this. And if you wanted to swap around and play parts, you might be able to custom this into something really cool. There's one problem that I am having with him, and it's very minor, but I notice it, and it kind of drives me a little crazy. And it's in his knees. I don't know if there was a plan here, like if they originally intended to do something else with him, but like that knee is blue. And then this knee is almost black. But there's not any line that runs down on his leg. So, like, if we had more symbiote that went down around his leg and then ended at his knee or something, like it was slowly going down his leg, that would be cool. But we don't. So I'm not 100% sure what the idea was with that. Like, why they used this off-color, super dark blue, basically black knee. That's really weird to me. Like, really weird. But this is the changing suit Spider-Man. I'm going to switch back to my punching hand here. That face is fantastic. Look, say what you will about anything else about it, but the effect is cool. That's really good. And the way the arm is all goopy and cool and like, this is awesome. This little thing, you could take it or leave it. I mean, I know what it is, but I just don't care. This is awesome. This is a moment in Spider-Man frozen in time. It's very cool. I like it a lot. And like I said, this has sat here for, is it like 2-3 months now? And my interest for it has not dwindled. I have not gotten to a point where I feel like, oh, why did I buy that? I'm gonna have to sell that now. I'm gonna have to figure it out. It never hit me like that. I never hit a point where I said, well, that was a mistake. Like, uh-oh, and that's buyer's remorse and whatnot, but I don't have that. I feel like FOMO leads to buyer's remorse. You didn't buy it because you wanted it. You didn't buy it because it spoke to you. You didn't buy it because it actually brought up an emotional response or something. You bought it because other people were buying it, or because they'd somehow convinced you through commercials or whatever, or just you seeing a new shiny thing and you looking to chase that new shiny thing feeling, and you got the new shiny thing. And once, if that dies on you and then the new shiny thing is done, you probably bought 100% for FOMO. If you can make it a couple months out and that still feels like a pretty cool piece on the shelf, you still like it, it still speaks to you, you still know why you bought it, and you have a true interest in it, and you're still willing to pick it up and play around with it, and I think that's different. I think that really does show the difference in what it's like to buy because you're just buying, or buying out of FOMO, and to buy because you actually liked a thing, it actually spoke to you, it's actually cool for a certain reason, one way or another. And that Spider-Man feels like, and one could say self-evident proof, but feels like proof to that. Because I'm going to put him on the shelf, and I think I might even rearrange the shelf a little bit to put like one Spider-Man who's a regular Spider-Man on one side, and then him, and then the black suit, so it kind of looks like, I want to kind of collage it a little bit. Maybe that would be a cool picture now that I'm thinking about it. See, I've already got ideas for this thing. I think it's cool. Is it gimmicky? Yes. Is it for everybody? No. If you have a black suit Spider-Man and you have a Spider-Man, this is very gimmicky. You probably do not care, and you would not be in the wrong for not caring. It is a very gimmicky thing. It speaks to a very specific kind of collector with a very specific set of ideas, that being either completionist, photographer, spider putts. Like, these are the things that it's going to speak to. But if you don't have a connection to this Spider-Man, this is probably a really hard pass. And I would 100% understand why it would be a waste of money for most everybody else. But, like, I'm actually really happy with this. I think this is really cool. Let me get another poll started. Okay. There's that. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think it's because Motu represents a very specific point of my childhood. If it goes 4 years, if it goes 4 years old. Oh, okay. You're referencing, okay. It I absolutely love them. I absolutely love the McFarlane DC figures, but I know Mattel is going to knock this line out of the park. I hope that it does. That is not a joke. I have honest concerns about this. I feel like, for all the potential they have and all the good they could do, Mattel has proven time and time again that even when all the stars align, they can mess up a line. And we are already seeing part of it in Chronicles. Back up. What am I talking about? This is a Chronicles figure. This is a very, very good body for a superhero line. It would work. I know we also have the wrestling figures, and that would be a good idea to kind of gauge as well. But this is a very current, right off the press line. This shows the kinds of joints that they're looking to work with in the future. It shows the kind of butterflies and how deep they're wanting to go in lines in general. It shows them playing around with their new body articulations. It shows the new kinds of knee joints that they're willing to practice with and play around with. It shows the ball joint wrists and the way that they're going to work. This is a very off the press, right now line, the way that the new designers are currently looking at new things. And yet, for all the good that this does, the Tila figure that they released from the Chronicles line is already doing the same crap that we've been calling Marvel Legends out for years. They did all of that with the male of the line. And all the males got that kind of body. And then they went over to Tila and Evelyn, and they gave both of those girls the Marvel Legends treatment. There is no reason at the start of the line, to already have the females on the 10-year-old buck that we've been calling Marvel Legends out for. That is a real problem. And we really need to pay attention to the fact that they're already doing it with Motu Chronicles. Because Motu Chronicles is very new. And we also need to realize that the core line, the one that's really made more for kids, it's a $10, very solid line, by the way. Like, it looks really good, and it's giving us some indication of what we could be seeing coming with the DC for us, for the collector's market. But if you'll notice, and maybe this is just because they're targeting it towards kids, and kids are a certain way, they didn't do a single female in that run, right? That core line doesn't have even one girl in it. Is it all guys? So we don't even have a basis for the core line yet to gauge what a Wonder Woman would look like in the Mattel line. I have my concerns. I see that Batman, the gray and blue Batman, it comes with the weapons rack and whatnot, and I say, if you take this and you add just a couple of features, we have a very solid line going forward. This could be an absolute ideal DC line. But then I got to walk it back a little bit, and I got to realize it's missing some things. Like, how come they didn't do a Wonder Woman? Look, Wonder Woman is part of the Trinity. Wonder Woman, not just because she's my favorite, Wonder Woman is one of the most important figures in all of comic book history. All of it. You did The Flash. You did Robin. You did Batman. You did Joker. You did Green Lantern. You did Superman. You didn't do a single girl. Not one. And the one most arguably that should have launched with the line, Wonder Woman. We don't have a look at how they're going to do that. We don't have an idea as to how to gauge what they will do moving forward. And in DC, the female superheroes matter a lot. A lot. You could argue for certain things like Motu. It only has like 3 girls that really matter, and then everything else is just a bonus. And so if you wanted to do things like that, walk the line backwards personally, like with that Tila should have come out with the same level of articulation that all the guys in the Chronicles line got. She didn't. She can't do a sit-up. She can't do a crunch. She's a warrior woman, known for her athleticism. She can't do a sit-up. She can't do a crunch. She can't jump like she did in the movie and do a tuck and roll. Her waist won't let her do that. She's stuck like a brick, just like all the Marvel legends that we've called out time and time and time again. And this is on a brand new line at the very beginning of its run. I don't have the wrestling figures for comparison, so I can't make that determination. But, like, it's concerning. It's concerning. And when you're talking about DC, there's a lot more girls in DC that are going to have a lot of fans interested than there are in, say, Motu. We buy a lot of females in the Marvel line because there's a lot of superheroes that we like. And that's going to be true for DC. And you know what blows my mind? We didn't even see that core line come out with a Supergirl. We are right now at the very beginning of a Supergirl movie, regardless of how it performed. I don't care. We are the way that toys often work is you go, hey, what's going to be real big right now? What are we doing? Well, we know we've got that DC Supergirl movie that's coming out. We are doing a Superman. Maybe she's the first girl in our line. Okay, that actually makes sense. Let's go ahead and do that. We know we're going to need a Batman because, of course, we need Batman. Batman could use a Robin. That's important. We need Joker. He's pretty much the biggest villain that we could possibly pull out that guarantees money. We need a Green Lantern. What one do we need? Well, we're going to need some kind of representation here. We kind of look like we have an all-white cast. Let's at least be real about what we're doing here. Let's do a Green Lantern. And since Green Lanterns give us a vast pool of ethnicity to pick from, let's do one of the most popular and still covers that ethnic angle because it's business, okay? And to be fair, representation does actually matter, regardless of what argument you'd like to make. And because of that, they went with John. And I'm not going to complain about John. First off, John is fantastic. So if they want to put John in there, I'm 100%. And I'm more than fine with the fact that he came in before Hal. We don't always need Hal first. In fact, Hal being the greatest Green Lantern, in my opinion, is kind of overdone. Over the years, it's kind of walked me away from Hal because I just get tired of him being the cliche best guy. Even though he is. And my favorite is Kyle Rayner. With Jessica Cruz right there. I mean, there are days when I wake up and go, I think it's Jessica. It's right there. So, I think that when you look at all of this, and you look at the money-making decisions that had to have gone into putting out a toy line, they chose for what was probably planned out for 3 or 4 years before they even went into full production. Because you got to plan it, you got to do the art, you got to choose the figures, you got to then get the factories and everything, and you got to make the orders, and you got to get sculptors and yada yada. And this is a long process. It takes about 3 years to put out an action figure realistically. And they didn't plan a single female. In DC, Batman, Catwoman. Superman, Lois, Supergirl. Wonder Woman, if we're talking Justice League. And actually, she's not even the only one. Talking Justice League. If we're going to put out a Green Arrow, we want Black Canary, right? One could argue, you're talking, depending on the Superman, you want Power Girl. Green Lanterns, you want Jessica Cruz. If not something like really throw a curveball at him, Sornik Natu. The females of the DC line are going to be sold in mass, and they will be pretty important. Look at a big portion of the ones that are tough to get from McFarlane. They're the girls because they sell fast. People want them, and they're often underestimated and not created at the same level of quantity than the rest of the line. Because McFarlane has stated many times he could sell a Batman 1,000,000 times. His Wonder Woman will sit on the shelves. He's wrong about that because it was the Wonder Womans you were choosing to make, Todd. But you can keep your shoes off. You could stay on the couch. Relax, Todd. It's fine, man. But you were wrong. Every single one of the classic Wonder Womans that you have released has flown off the shelves and become difficult to find, and not just at a scalper level. They're gone. They sell. They sell fast. You could have doubled the amount of inventory and probably sold all of it. You didn't do that. So I honestly feel like there are concerns. I am excited. Don't get me wrong. I look at that Batman sculpt, that head from the core line. Oh, it looks great. I look at that Joker. That's fantastic. I look at that Robin. That's really, really good. Almost everything is on point. The core line alone almost has me buying figures this close. I'm gonna be honest with you. Had that core line released and had ankles, I just did this like I'm twisting my nips down here, but I was trying to emulate the idea that the ankles move. If it had been released with the ankles, it would have basically put it on par immediately with Marvel Legends. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't the Captain America and the Batman, aren't they like the same size? So the scale is perfect to be able to start putting DC guys into your Marvel Legends. It's exactly what we've been asking for years. The core line alone almost has me buying figures. I mean, it's so close. Had they had the ankles, you'd have had me saying, I don't even know if I need the collector's line. I just want Batman to be able to sit around with Daredevil and whatnot. And I'd have been buying figures. I'd have been day one at the store buying figures. As long as they do two things. Put them ankles on, and Wonder Woman needs the exact same level of detail and articulation as what is given to the rest of the line. Do not backpedal the female figures for no reason at all. There's no reason that they should not have lower articulation. No reason. We're past that point now. Marvel has some of the best female bucks that you could possibly buy at their price point. In fact, they have the best female buck at their price point. And for some reason, we come out the gate with Chronicles and immediately lowball the females of the line. That one moment concerned me greatly for all the excitement that I was building with DC Mattel. Am I still looking forward to DC Mattel? Absolutely. There are things in DC Mattel that is dreamlike. One, DC has crossed over many times with Motu. And we have an entire origin line that's already running and doing fantastic things. We have Ninja Turtles in a Motu origin scale. We have Thundercats in a Motu origin scale. We have Power Princess in Motu origin scale. We have Motu in the Motu origin scale. Now we can add all of DC to a Motu origin scale. That is sick. That is fantastic. And it's all under the same wheelhouse, so they can keep it all consistent. Beautiful. Beautiful. And we have a cartoon line in the Motu origin scale, which is also really cool because it opens up the possibility that Mattel could dig into its animated lines and give us animated Justice League, an entire line of figures based to look like the cartoons. Holy crap, that's cool. Back up. I love that idea. And it's not just that, but if the Chronicles line is any indication, and we keep at that scale, then the Chronicles and the DC would be able to match at a scale that leads for them to be crossover. That's fantastic because they did cross over a lot. All of this is exciting. And the fact that now they have Ninja Turtles, you now have Motu, Ninja Turtles, DC, and Thundercats, all able to be produced by the same company in the same line at the same scale, that is unbelievable. That is tremendously exciting. But just like we've seen with Masterverse, and I've said this before, you want to see the quality of a line? You want to know whether they're willing to cut corners and screw you later on? Look at the females of the line. They are the first figures in any line to get screwed. They either start with less articulation, less detail, less design, or they're the first ones to get the nip when all of a sudden the line has problems. Just take away the wrists, take away the biceps, take away the double elbows, take away, like, they're the first ones to get screwed. And if you start the line already screwing over one side of your characters, that's a problem. They cannot do what Chronicles did to the females in the DC line. It will hurt the line from the very beginning. I'm telling you, it will. McFarlane, for all that we say, all that we crap on McFarlane for, let's be honest about something. That has not happened with McFarlane. McFarlane has been consistent across his entire line from start to finish as to what he is giving you. Yes, people can make fun of him and talk about the diapers or whatever, but guess what? The girls got all the consistent articulation and detail that every guy in the line got. And that never changed from the beginning to the end. And consistently, he has maintained his specific articulation across the entire line. Some could argue it's not good articulation, and that's fine. Look, I will be the first to admit that while I like a lot of things in the McFarlane line, I really do. A lot of it has spoken to me, and I've bought a lot of it. I have an entire shelf of just McFarlane, and I like a lot of it. There are parts that I feel could have been better. And I feel like, especially with this news that he got a hold of the Marvel Select license, that is concerning, because if you're going to make a Spider-Man that moves like the DC figures, he's not going to work. You better change that articulation scale, because he better be able to move like Spider-Man. And if he can't do it, your line is in trouble, McFarlane. He is not one that you can have on this buck. And this buck has its problems. There are poses that are difficult to pull off with this buck. But it works. And consistently, this has pretty much been the overall articulation design of the whole line from start to finish. That is good. It means that even when he's had troubles, even when he lost money, even when there were times that he could have scaled back and changed certain things and took certain things away, he never did. You never saw where, like, finally he was coming out with a Wonder Woman and he was like, all right, so we're going to walk this one backwards a little bit and not give it everything that the other figures have gotten, because I'm not going to sell many of them anyways and we need to save a lot of money. You don't see him do that. One could argue that he did with Flashpoint Wonder Woman. But her costume, I think, is the reason for that. I don't think it's her. I think that the way the boots and everything and the way that he chose to do that is the reason he changed the ankles on that figure. And I also think it's the reason the arms work the way that it does. It is because of the way the gauntlets and everything are. I think that's why that figure is different, because consistently, like, you don't see a Huntress made different than the other figures. You get what I'm saying? So I think there's a leeway on that one thing. So yes, I agree. If Mattel does right, Mattel has the possibility to become the absolute definitive DC line of all DC lines that have ever been released. This is their chance. But they could also screw this up in wave 1. This is the line of any other line that I have been the most concerned with of any single line that I've ever seen from DC. Because the other times, DC will do a line and I'll be like, it's trash, I don't want it. And then I'm fine. It doesn't bother me anymore because I'm not going to buy that line anyway. Everybody that buys it, I hope they get what they want, and I hope they get some really cool parts. But I just don't care. And then other times I see something and I'm like, okay, I'm hopping into this. And then I hop in and I buy like crazy and I got a bunch of DC. So, like, it's always kind of been a yes or a no thing. Oh, that's cool. I think I'm jumping in. I don't really feel that one. Let everybody else have that. There's plenty of other DC on the market. I'll get what I want as I get it. But this line, I want this to work. And it has the potential to be a very, very big deal. But the first major wave of Chronicles already has me concerned about what Mattel is willing to do with a line out the gate. I am concerned. And I think I'm justified in that concern. Let's set this up and we will go on because I know there's talking. If you're new to this show and you're just getting in, conversations are every bit as important as opening figures. Sometimes we only open 3 figures a night. I don't mind. That doesn't bother me at all. If we have toy topics to talk about, we're talking toy topics. That's what this show is. So if you came here and you're concerned that it just took 20 minutes just to decide that we were even going to look at a DC and now we have to do another vote and you're like, it's taking too long. My show's not for you. Let's do this because I have that sitting there and that's pretty solid. And then I also have, let's do that because he's been sitting there for a while. Do I only have 4? I think I only have 4 DC left. Wow. That shocks me. Oh, I hit enter. And okay, there we go. I heard the He-Man Blu-ray looks good. I hope so. I really do. I'm kind of excited. One of the things, I know this sounds dumb, but one of the things I'm most excited for, I really am. Look at this. I want to get this Blu-ray because they're going to digitally remaster the sound. And I have a 7.1 surround sound system now. So going back and watching some of the movies that I've never got to hear that way has been really cool. Like the music and like just the vocals and the explosions and things like that. I was gifted a surround sound. There was a friend of mine who he was buying something new and he was like, hey man, I'm getting rid of this. Do you want it? And I was like, dude, I can't pay you for that right now. And he's like, nope. I just don't need this. He's like, it's going to be hard to get this, even if I went to Marketplace, and I'm probably going to get screwed on the price anyway. You can just have it. Just go set it up. And I was like, oh, crap. So I go and I set it up, and it's been very cool. I've been watching the Justice League cartoon and surprised at how well that just, like, brings everything to life. So I'm very excited for He-Man to change. I can't wait to hear what that sounds like when I have the power hits and my whole freaking house shakes. Like I can't wait to hear what that is like. I have purposely not put in the He-Man DVDs because though I want to hear it, I don't want to hear it until I have the Blu-rays and I can get the full effect of what they've done with whatever they choose to do. That's going to be so cool. Not to get your hopes up, Linda Carter Wonder Woman might come out and John Wesley ship Flash. I've been hearing this for a while. That would be amazing. Do I want the Flash? I think I would pass on the Flash. I grew up with that show. I liked it. I watched it as an adult. It was okay. I don't love it. I don't feel like I don't feel like it survived the test of time. I really don't. Wonder Woman is different. Wonder Woman feels like a product of her era. And I know this sounds weird. It almost sounds unfair. Like when I watch The Flash, I go, this is kind of bad. When I watch Wonder Woman, I go, this is kind of its time. And it feels different. When I watch Batman 66, it feels of its time. And I give it that, and I enjoy it very much. When I watch 90s Flash, I go, we were trying way too hard. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like a bunch of people that really didn't get the superhero thing, but were tasked with doing it anyway. And so they did the best they could, and it worked, but it's not good. That's what it feels like when I rewatched it anyways. And that's not the only show that I get that with. I get it with some other shows too. But like, it makes me feel like where John Wesley deserves all the credit he gets, and I really enjoy him in the new Flash when he shows up. But that's more like I like John Wesley, and I kind of prefer him as Jay Garrick, if you want the truth of it. And then I do like it when he comes back in that show and he's still playing the same Flash that he played when we were kids and everything, and that's kind of fun. But like it also, you know what I mean? Like that Flash is not something I'm stuck on. But Linda Carter Wonder Woman, I would buy the crap out of her. That would be so cool. But then there's the argument. I have movie Supermans. I have movie Batmans. If I had a movie Wonder Woman, would I want a movie Flash just to kind of like get kind of like a movie childhood movies Justice League? Would that be cool? Is that enough to put a Flash on my shelf? I don't know. Now, I have a friend, Scott. He will buy that Flash in the blink of an eye. The blink of an eye. I don't know if I will. I don't know. I don't know. That Wonder Woman is guaranteed. I have to see the Flash. If I see the Flash and it speaks to me and it makes me feel a certain way, and I've already got my greatness of my childhood sitting on my shelf, he might get a buy because we're at the end of the line. When's the next time we're ever going to see one? Maybe. But I don't know. We'll see. Honestly, though, it will be nice to see DC figures without hinge pins. Pins don't bother me, but I do understand your comment. But it makes them way harder to customize. That, I don't know. I might kit bash a couple things, but I'm not a customizer. So, and I very much admire people that can do it. I can do it to an extent. I have done it. I've done my own paint jobs and things like that and swapped out different things. But I would consider myself to be an amateur. 100%. Amateur. Most of my experience for being able to customize is because I've done so much work in things like Gunpla, and it gave me an understanding for how pins and joints and things like that work, and kind of took away some of my fear about, oh, well, the leg broke, well, you do this and blah, blah, blah. So like I kind of got that idea, and I think you're right. I think that with pins, it's a very easy process to understand that you pop that out, and you can even buy replacement pins because, like, you know, it's just not that complicated. But I think you're right. It's probably a lot more tough. It's probably a lot tougher for people to customize. I mean, it feels like it would be. You probably have more insight into that than I do, to be fair, in all honesty. But pins don't really bother me Now, if you're giving me a choice, I would prefer this to this almost any day. But in the end, I know what I'm buying. I'm buying toys. It's what they are. And while I would prefer pinless, very beautiful toys, this right here was my favorite G.I. Joe ever. I played with this figure more than any other figure in the entirety of all toys that I ever had my entire life. This right here. He's got pins. He's got metal pins. He's got a screw in his back. Like, he doesn't have the knee pins, but he does have a thigh screw. Like, and I know this is from a different time, but this is also an action figure that years ago came with a stand. Like, so they knew even then that adults were collecting. There's no reason to give a figure stand and put the holes in the feet and whatnot for kids. There's no reason. He-Man didn't have that. Turtles didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't need stands. Kids threw them in toy boxes or had those carrying cases. That's what they were doing. But they knew back then that G.I. Joe was a little bit different, that it was going to have adult collectors. They knew that, and they prepared for it. And they did certain things that guaranteed that it was kind of in a middle ground. And like, I grew up on G.I. Joe. I grew up on the Batman that this was his movement. And so, like, I don't know if it's just having grown up with that and never necessarily left. I never necessarily left the idea of what toys were. I've never been that guy that has to sit here and convince myself I'm an adult collector and I only buy toys that were meant for adults. I'm not that guy, and I'll never be that guy. I know what I am doing, and I have no delusion about it whatsoever. I am a grown man that no longer cares about how other people will perceive it. I want a He-Man, so I bought him. What is this? It is a toy. I want a Spider-Man, so I bought him. What is this? It's a toy. I want a Batman, so I bought him. What is this? It's a toy. And I have no delusions. Even when we get to something like this, and I say, I bought a King Conan. It's an adult it's a toy. It's a Super 7 toy, marketed to adults, but is an action figure toy. And if it has pins, it doesn't bother me too much. But if you're going to give me the choice, I will always pick pinless. But the McFarlane figures never bothered me. The fact that they had pins, and in all honesty, I'm glad they stayed consistent with the pins for the entire line. Because I think that consistency does matter in your design. Because had they went from pins to pinless and then resold everything and made everything else seem irrelevant, like all of a sudden we've got a Batman and like he's pinless, but he's standing next to the Justice League that all has a bunch of pins, that would have been a problem. And it would have felt like he was from a different line, and it would have messed with me the whole time he was on the shelf. So there's something to be said for that. I'm kind of glad that he never like fixed it. He had pins, and he knew he had pins, and he was just like, this is the way that my figures look, and that was the end of it. And I'm kind of glad he did that. It adds a consistency to the entire line that I can get behind. So I'm fine with that. But Mattel has the ability here to start fresh, and that is an absolute. If you're going to start fresh and you're going to modernize, we do not want the hinge pins if we're talking about modern figures. Heck, most modern figures, even something built to look like a classic toy, doesn't have pins. So, like, we are past the pins thing. But in the end, it never bothered me personally. Yes. Yes, it will be. Would be. Would. We don't know if we're going to get it. Here's hoping. Bat Schmuck Spider Butts. I have bought more Batman from McFarlane than I ever thought I would. I'll give him that. He somehow got me, and I think it's because he has a way of capturing like that comic book aesthetic. He just does, man. You got to give it to him. He pulls it off. Where most of the time in a lot of other lines, I've bought a Batman. And that's it. One. I'm like, there, I got the one I wanted. And then I moved on. But McFarlane has a way of really grabbing a hold of like this childhood, we'll call it nostalgia, because it is, and really being like, hey, this is from that specific comic book. This is from that show. This is from that movie. Like, and it works. It gets my attention on multiple things instead of just the one. Okay. Marvel Legends needs to do Lou Ferrigno Hulk and Bill Bixby 2-pack. That probably would be neat. In fact, now that they've done a 70s Spider-Man, it actually kind of brings the question, could they do an entire line of like old TV heroes? Could they get away with it? I hate cell shading on figures too. It's overkill. I can't stand it. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I really am, because like it. I see all these people that are like, this is the best Daredevil on the market, and I'm like, with all those like weird black like triangles and lines and shades and like, oh, I hate that. Still waiting for Motu Chronicles to win a vote. Look, it depends on who's in the room and when they're in the room, and yeah. Chronicles does not get votes. Most Motu does not get votes. It surprises me when the room is packed with people that end up voting Motu. That's the reason I think they're going to become standalone in between episodes. I picked up Jim Gordon and Battle Damaged Catwoman. Now I've heard, so I'm going to ask you because you have it. I heard that the Battle Damaged Catwoman is a head and a shoulder, and that is it. Is that true? Is she a cop-out? Did he not go the distance? G.I. Joe Classified has peaked, in my humble opinion. Might be fair. Because I'm sitting here going, well, they're starting up all the Ninja Force, and there's some real cool stuff that's coming out with that. Like, the Snake Eyes that I grew up, the toy that I had is about to be released in Ninja Force. I want that. Snake Eyes' daughter has been released. It's gimmicky, but it's really cool. I want that. I could just go get her, but I need the money. I did not get that Scarlet Ninja Force, which means I also didn't get the one that she came with. I wanted that figure like crazy. The guy that comes in the Scarlet 2-pack Ninja Force, whenever I would say that he was out of his suit, I would claim that that's what he looked like. So when I had my figures, I had those two. I had 3 figures specifically that I used to do where he had this as a battle suit for very specific situations, and then he had a ninja suit, which was the yellow tiger-looking man guy, and then I had a Liu Kang from the Mortal Kombat G.I. Joe stuff And I was like, this is what he looks like when he's not in his costumes. And so that's the way I played. So like my mind goes back and it looks at that, and like I used that yellow ninja all the time when I was growing up, and it's very much a childhood nostalgia buy, but I really wanted it. Like I really, really honestly wanted it. It would have been absolute on the shelf, right next to Dice, and if they ever make this guy, come on. Come on, Classified. I need this. Like, I need this. This guy right here, I need him. You did this. Look at this. This is still my original toy. Look at him. Look at how wobbly he is. That is my actual toy from my childhood. And I've been able to upgrade him. I had 2 more to go to basically have the trinity of figures that I played with all the time. Because they already gave me Jinx. Jinx was the female that I used all the time when I was playing Joe's. I was like, there she is. She's a girl, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I would just kind of put her into situations and storylines all the time. I used Jinx all the time when I was growing up. Red female girl, red like ninja girl or whatever. She fit a lot of the stories and scenarios that I was playing. She worked. In fact, I think I even customized mine at one point. I unscrewed that back hinge and pulled her apart and put a different girl's head on her. It may have been... I'm trying to remember if it was blonde hair. I wonder if it was a cover girl head. I really do, because I feel like it was a blonde, but I can't remember for sure. But I remember I pulled her apart so that I could take the mask off. So I would pull her apart, and then I'd put that head on there and squeeze her back together, and then I put the screw in and be like, okay, now I can use her for whatever these stories are. But I used that Jinx figure all the time. I have that Jinx figure now. I have Dice. I need Eel 2. And I really wanted that yellow ninja. And he sold out everywhere. People are still doing pictures where they're like, hey, they're at Target. No, they're not. I see it constantly that people are sending me pictures. Hey, they're at Target. I am on Target on almost daily basis looking at the links that tell you that you can't order it to be sent. You can't order it. They don't have it. They're always like sold out, completely sold out. You can't order it. And so like I could probably go on Etsy. I've seen them for like $80 plus $22 shipping and handling. That's way too much. It's too much. I can't do it. I can't justify it. They haven't shown back up on Pulse. I wanted that figure like crazy. That is my Wonder Woman of G.I. Joe. That's it. I wanted that 2-pack. I want that Snake Eyes 2-pack. I'm hoping not to sleep on it this time. But even with that, you might be right. I still think there's a lot of steam, but I think G.I. Joe Classified is probably going to start slowing down. Or they're going to get super gimmicky. Because like we're seeing things now where like, I know it's just a test, but they kind of like brought in Tomb Raider, which I love. They brought in Action Man, which I like. I don't have any association with him, but the history of it is cool. I'm very curious now if we're going to see it start like winding down. Not go away, but you could be right. We could be at the peak. And now I think we're going to start seeing it get gimmicky and goofy as it kind of plays out. Yeah, you'd said that it reminds you more of Beastmaster more than Tarzan, which I wouldn't have seen him as Tarzan, but I get what you're saying. If you want to take the black changing Spider-Man a bit further, use the Marvel Legends 3 Spider-Man black costume Venom accessory. Yes, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about things you could do with him. I have that. Spider Putz does whatever a Spider Putz does. Yeah, it was. Yeah, yes. The body, yes. I'm pretty selective. Even when I binge buy, I'm almost always happy with my purchase long term, which is good. That is absolutely, you should maintain that as well as you can. because I don't understand buying things. Like, I see it all the time where, like, YouTubers can make these lists and they're like, these are the top 10 worst figures in my collection. I hate this guy, blah, blah. And, like, sometimes they'll be very serious. Like, this is easily the worst figure I've ever bought, blah, 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 this and that. And I'm like, and then sometimes what they'll do that really blows my mind is they'll tell you, they'll be like, and I knew this guy was trash when I was buying him. You're purposely buying things you don't like? Why? Like, I can't do that. I have trouble. I promised a top 5 worst figures list on this channel, and I had trouble coming up with the 5 because I don't buy things I don't want. I don't understand how you do that. I would say poor Lex, but she doesn't need she does need to be. Just wants you to not open a Spider-Man. Sometimes it feels like that. She'll come up right then. But I know she's been spending a lot of time in the backyard. I don't know if the weather is just perfect or what, but like, she hasn't barked yet. If I go out there, she's probably down at the corner of the fence or running around the yard by the tree or something like that, and I can let her in. Like, if she sees me at the door, she'll look up from what she's doing like she's surprised, and then she'll run into the house like really quick, like I'm going to shut the door and not let her in. But yeah, for some reason, she will sometimes like show up right, and it's right when I'm getting ready. I'll like flip the figure, and I can't tell you how many times it's happened in the show. I'm like, yeah, and then right when I flip it though, they'll all of a sudden show up. Like, she'll show up and be like, hey, hey. I don't buy something unless I'm either A, familiar with it, B, something I absolutely want or need. If it's neither of those things, I don't bother pre-ordering or buying it. Good. Good. Still waiting on my Wonder Woman unboxing. Me too! Dude, they need to send that Wonder Woman. It's supposed to be September, right? That's when those orders go out. I bought 2 of them. I did. Now it's gonna work out. I bought it originally almost as a spite. Like, I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna buy 2 of them because I'm gonna unbox one and then I'm gonna keep one boxed because eventually someday maybe this one will get damaged and I will have one that I can replace it with because this is the one that I wanted from the line the most and I didn't get it and I'm all salty about it. But now in an interesting twist of irony, it's gonna work out because I need that hair for the 52 version of her. So now I bought her Chase variant, and I need the long hair, straight hair in order to make her look right. So that's going to work out perfectly because I could swap one of the heads now. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Let me let the dog in. I know she hasn't barked, but she's been out there for a while. And then we'll open Gordon. Okay. Gordon, specifically from the Dark Knight trilogy. This is fantastic. First off, these 3 movies I think are the most consistent, best Batman movies ever made. I do believe that. I'm not saying that you can't prefer some Batman movies over others for stylistic choices, actors, so on and so forth, but consistently good. You can watch all 3 of these Batman movies every sit down, every time, and I think you will like them consistently every time. I can't say that for the Batman that I grew up with. I have to be in the right mood to watch the last 2. I mean, that is the way that it is. Is that good? Is that bad? Who knows? And recently, a lot of people really like The Batman. I've noticed that the first time I watched that movie, I liked it a lot. The second time I watched that movie, it felt longer. Maybe because there's no surprises left for me. That tends to happen with these mystery movies. So the next time I watched it, I was trying to watch and be like, maybe they were giving me hints that like I should have been able to figure this out on my own. Not really. It's one of those movies where we are actively hunting the Joker. And while there's some mysteries here and there that they actually do give you the ability to kind of see what's coming, it's one of those movies where it just like goes, hey, we're going to take you on a detective adventure. But the information is not actually there for you to be able to solve because we're only seeing it from a certain angle. So we couldn't really lock down exactly what was going on from the context clues that we were given without already knowing what we were looking for. It doesn't work that way. The movie doesn't work that way. It's not lined out where you watch it the next time and you're like, oh man, how did I not see that? There were hints the whole time about this reveal that was coming. It doesn't work that way. So like once the mystery is done and it's there, and I realize you couldn't have solved it by yourself because you're a ride along. You're not actually being given all the information that you would need to be able to solve what you're looking at. It makes it a very different kind of movie, and it just feels long. So the third time I watched it, and I was looking for all these context clues, I did see some, but I saw the context clues that were laid out in a very specific way that I realized that I was being led by the hand, and I never actually had the ability to solve the mystery myself, which, big surprise. A lot of these mystery movies are built like that. So, okay. And I tried to watch it a 4th time, and I fell asleep. And I tried to watch it a 5th time, and I fell asleep. Now, I work a lot of overtime. I will admit, I sometimes come home exhausted. But, like, the monotone of the movie makes sense for what it is. But it doesn't help me stay awake. And it just kind of goes, like, forever. And I get that we're seeing Batman come into his own and different things like that. And I like the way that he interacts with that universe. And I like the way the cops are not on his side. I think that's a benefit. Batman is illegal. In a universe where you're going to put Batman and superheroes have not been accepted by the public, mass vigilantism is not something that the public has just come to accept. then in that universe, he should not have a bunch of hero worshippers. Sorry, my eye started itching me. Because that's what that often feels like. Like when people are going, well, why are people mad at Spider-Man? He's just trying to help. That is not his job. We can hero worship because we have it from his point of view, where we've been given the information to like Parker. We like Spider-Man. We like this situation. We're watching the movie from an outside perspective. But in that universe, in the reality of what is going on, he is not a cop. He is not an official. He is not trained. He doesn't have to take responsibility for the actions that he does and so on and so forth. He is a vigilante. He is illegal. He is against the law and has been deemed so for very specific real-world reasons. Now, in a universe like this, the rules have changed when everybody has superpowers and crazy crap is happening everywhere, and you need a Captain America or a Spider-Man or something of that nature, and these people that do step up, we tend to give them a wide berth in the universe that has been created comic book wise, and we just kind of accept mass vigilantism. We really do. But in that Batman movie, he seems to be the only hero that exists. And most of the force is not okay with him. And I think that works for Batman stories, especially the one that they were telling. And I like that he was like angry, violent, mean, scary. And that's what he was going for. He was creating this problem on purpose to be this person. And then, as time went on, he started to realize the kind of problems that was causing. And he started to like walk it back a little bit towards the very end. And I love that scene where like he's got the light and he becomes a guiding force instead of a stopping point. I love that idea. There's things about that new movie, The Batman, that I like a lot. Like a lot. I think it's a fantastic film. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I have trouble watching it. For all the love that I have for it, I have to be well rested and in the very right mood to watch it, or it will drain me fast. There's like things I like and things I want to see, and I want to get to those things. But instead I'm bogged down by like easily an hour of like walking and rain and narrative and talking and eyeliner and sleeping and tired. And it bleeds on me. These movies do not feel like that. They don't take themselves as seriously. They tend to stick to the rules of the universe that they've created. But yeah, there's enough there that I'm never bored watching all three of those movies. I enjoy them extensively. These are the definitive Batman movies on a personal level. I really believe that. Could have been better. We can always complain. But from start to finish, this is incredibly solid. And he's going to be hard to top. Gordon's portrayal in this movie is the way that I want Gordon to be. End of story. No arguments. No notes. Perfect. That's what I want. I don't like in The Batman, and I'm not trying to pick on this movie, but like they gave me a Jim Gordon that was fine. He's fine. He works for the universe they've created. I understand what they're going for. He seems fairly competent. But at the same time, he also seems somehow incompetent when there's like very easy, dumb things that like you're watching the movie and I'm like, you couldn't have figured that out? Like, you couldn't have pieced that together? You had to have this like random guy, this Batman, come in and like point that out for you? Like, that seems about ridiculous. And like, sometimes the ridiculousness of the situation in his universe, I don't know how he would have found it out without somebody having a ridiculous amount of resources. But at the same time, Gordon seems competent in the world that he's been placed in. But he's also tied down by the system that he happens to be existing in. He figures things out in real time that are fantastic, and then either he can't act on them or there's situations that prevent him. Like when he's put in charge and he's trying to take care of the current commissioner. And he's like, they somehow got a hold of your DNA. And he figures it out right then when the guy's like, hey, I figured out a solution to these kinds of problems years ago. And he puts down the glass and he's going to drink. And Gordon tries to stop him, realizing at that moment that has to be, it's a character moment. Something that this guy's been doing for a long time that anybody on the outside could have easily witnessed. That's how they would have got his DNA or whatever. So he rushes to try to stop it and it's too late. But he did figure it out. That's competency. He is looking into things. When he tells Robin, that's what we're going to call him, you're a detective, you're not allowed to believe in coincidence anymore. When he starts working with a vigilante that even he doesn't feel right doing, but he realizes the system that he's in and the problems that he's dealing with. When he lies to basically create the situation that will lead to like the Dent Act and whatnot, and he keeps telling himself this very human idea, well, the ends will justify the means, the ends will justify the means, the ends will justify the means, only to later on have this really sit and weigh him down and sit on his soul to the point where at one point he has to finally say, this is wrong. This is wrong. I see that it's wrong. People need to know. And he is ready to say something. And then again, that nagging feeling of all the good they've done and everything that would be undone and all this, is he right? Does he get to make that decision? And then he walks away from it again, only to be revealed later on that he had this information and yada yada and things like that. And then that cop looks right at him and he's like, you know, hey, you all those people in jail, they're all in jail because of this. And he calls him out. Your hands look plenty dirty to me. Well, Gordon deserves that. And the portrayal of this human character is fantastic. It works for me. It's 100%. I'm on board with it. And the cool thing about it is, like, how do I put this? I said cool thing and it kind of threw me off because it's not. One of the things that I find that's a little bit hypocritical about those movies, though, is that we come down on Gordon for knowing what was going on and going along with it. But then, like, even Robin is still praising the Batman at the end of the movie and throughout the course of the movie, when the Batman is the one that came up with the idea in the first place. He's the one that gave it teeth and created the possibility of the Dent Act in the first place. He created the situation, and yet we're not coming down on him. Like, Robin doesn't tell him, like, look, man, you lied, you covered the truth, you ruined the lives of hundreds of people and so on and so forth. Like, we don't come down on him, but then again, that's another human thing. That's hypocrisy and things like that. I really love these movies. There's a lot in rewatches and everything that you can side and change your opinion and make discoveries and kind of find, you know, where you sit with the whole thing and what's right and what's wrong and how much do we believe in this scenario versus this and things like that. I really, really enjoy it, and he's a huge part of it. I don't know that they will ever do better than him. He is the best Gordon, bar none, in any project that we have ever seen a Gordon in. And I'm including all animated depictions alongside. Yes. Even all the animated series and things like that we've seen Gordon, it's not better than him. Even any time that we've seen him in other movies, it's not better than him. Even Gotham, where he got an entire series to be Gordon, it's not better than him. This is the best Gordon we have ever seen, and they will be hard pressed to do better. Personally, I really believe that. Comes with a file, a chain. Are those handcuffs? What are those? Let's open him, and then we're going to talk about the only thing that disappoints me. Because I do have one disappointment with this James Gordon. All right. Gordon comes with punching hands for punching villains. He comes with hand cannon for shooting villains. He comes with a file for investigating villains and, interrogating and telling them that they have information and blah, blah, blah. He comes with handcuffs for arresting villains. And he comes with a fantastic long jacket for crappy rainy weather where he enforces the law against villains in villainous Gotham City. So those are the things that he comes with. Oh, and he comes for trigger finger hands for using his hand cannon that sometimes he needs to shoot villains in villainous Gotham. And he also comes with a fantastic tie for looking professional as he handles villainous villain things in villainous Gotham. Yeah. I went all in on that whole routine, the whole bit. Now, I said that I have a problem with him. This problem is not fair to him. Take this head away. That right there, that body is pretty much 100% reuse for a multitude of different figures. But the one that catches my attention, I wanted comic book Gordon. I didn't get him. I'm not saying he's not something I would have gotten. Like, if I had comic book Gordon, would I have passed on him? No, because I have the Batman and I have the Joker and I have Bane. I did not buy Catwoman, and I'm not going to go out of my way to do so. I don't want that Catwoman. I just don't care. To me, the only thing I needed: Gordon, Joker, and Batman. And really, that's all I needed. Bane was just, he was there, and I was like, hey, that's a good Bane, and I got him. Because I do actually like that movie. We talked all about it in that video. Chapter will be out soon if you need a refresher on that when it happens. This is fantastic. I said, it's reuse. We know what to expect from this body. It's a McFarlane figure. It moves like a McFarlane figure. There's nothing really in its way. Like, I wondered about the coat and whether it would cause problems, but the coat is a material that really does get out of his way. It would have been cool if they would have given us swappable arms. Like, so that we could take the coat off and just have the shirt or whatever, and then have shirt arms. That would have been really cool, but that's not something we do in this line. Would it have been cool to have multiple faces? Maybe. Would it have been cool if he came with some cigarettes? Maybe. But, oh well. Those are all just little Gordon things that kind of come to mind. But his likeness is pretty good. I'm going to hand it to McFarlane here. McFarlane, when he gets a likeness and he gets it right, even if your mind is filling in small areas of blanks where you kind of go, well, it looks enough like him, and your mind kind of goes, that's him. You could see that it's him. You know that it's him. He nails it. When he does a likeness and he does it right, he really does it right. When I look at the Christopher Reeve Superman, at the Brandon Rolfe Superman, things like that on the shelf, and I'm Michelle Pfeiffer, and the Penguin, and I'm Danny DeVito, and like, I'm expected to know who they are. I look right at them and go, I can see that. That's who they are. That's good. When he doesn't get it right, he really whiffs. I'm going to give him that, because there are times that I'm like, who even is that? Who's this guy supposed to be? Like, so that does happen. But when he gets it right, man, he gets it right. And I got to give it to him on this one. That's a good Gordon. He looks fantastic. Now, Gordon also comes with a card. A data file. It says Commissioner Gordon and everything on the back. Why is this not a picture of Gordon? You telling me we couldn't have gotten one picture of Gordon from anywhere in the movie? Would that have costed more money? Could you not spend it in more money? Because he's... Why? Bane got his picture. Joker got his picture. Batman got his picture. That's a minor thing, but in a packaging concern for people that are inbox collectors, when you turn the box around, it's not Gordon. It's Batman. It's just weird. It's weird. It seems almost like a minor disrespect. It's strange. It'd be like if you bought a Supergirl, and on the back was Christopher Reeve Superman. I mean, yeah, she's from that universe, but like, really? That's weird. I don't know. It's a dumb thing to complain about. 100%. I'm not above the idea that it is a dumb thing to complain about, but like, why? Why did we do that? Be like if you bought a Robin and on the back was just a picture of Batman. Like, what? It's weird. I don't know why they did that. Save money? I guess. It's my best guess. These handcuffs, they're trash. What is this? Will this even work? I don't think it will. I don't think you can even use these. They're kind of like a desk prop, I guess. Which, that's fine. That's what this file is, and it's going to go in J. Jonah Jameson's office. But, like, can you even, like, pull that wrist? I mean, okay. Maybe. Because you could put the wrists together or whatnot. I will have to see if I can get a picture of the Joker wearing them. I'll see if I could do that. If I could do that, then they're not complete trash, but these feel bad. They look overly big, but then they did go on Batman's wrist, which is right. Maybe if these were real chain, that would help. They feel terrible. We'll see if I can make anything of them. Now, are you ready? Are you ready for this one? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to find a really dumb way to justify it. Hockey puck stand again. Gordon deserves a flight stand. All right, are you ready? I'm going to do it. I'm going to give a stupid justification here. Gordon is the kind of man that runs out into the night chasing nuts that are jumping over buildings. A man like that might jump himself to catch a villain. And if a man is willing to jump to catch them villains, a man deserves a flight stand. Oh, yes! Yes, I don't care. I don't care. So far as I'm concerned, I've landed it. I've justified it. He should have come with a flight stand. Put your shoes on, Todd. Go into the factory and tell them flight stands, all right? Better make that a standard for your next line. Flight stands. Bill will find a reason to justify them flight stands, all right? Yeah. I'm happy with him. I do wish that I could get my hands on a comic Gordon. And I don't know, will he work? Like if I'm putting these two, they're standing on a rooftop. Would this be too, would it feel too weird? Because like he's kind of comic booky colors, and like will it not work with the paint jobs? Kind of make sure that they can't really talk in pictures. I don't know. But I like him. I really do. I honestly like him. I think he's fantastic. In all honesty, I don't know that I'm not expecting anything better, and I think that helps a lot because like he just is what he needs to be, and that's really all I need him to be. Like I said, there's minor little things that would have added character to him, like if I could have got some cigarettes for him to stand on the rooftop and smoke, something like that. But that's about it. That's about it. I can't really complain. I think he's done well. I think he's done very well. So, let me check this. That's okay. Let me send a message. Okay. Just got Storm Arena Ryu. I'm now a believer. He poses fantastic. His joints are buttery smooth. I'm impressed with how much ease he is to pose without stiffness in the joints. Very pleased. Yes. No, it's they're very good. They're very, very good figures. I still have not been able to talk myself into Ken and Ryu though. I just can't. I keep telling myself, oh, they're younger versions. But then, look, I go back to that collection rule all the time. Street Fighter 2 was my Street Fighter. I played a lot of Alpha. I did. And I played a lot of Third Strike and things like that. But, like, I even played Street Fighter EX, okay? So I played a lot of Street Fighter. But when my mind references the Street Fighter characters, I see them, as I've mentioned before, draw this character from memory. Street Fighter 2 every time. And right now, Storm Arena, they're all doing they're doing the alpha renditions of characters. So like I can't talk myself into it. I have a feeling if I bought that Kin or that Ryu, Kin would have an easier time staying. Because I look at Kin over there and he has the longer hair, but my mind's eye does sometimes see Kin with the very long hair. He would probably have a better idea. He would probably have a better possibility of staying the test of time on my shelf. But not Ryu. When my mind pictures Ryu, I see the Ryu that I got from Jada. And I almost never picture young Ryu. I think my collection rule keeps me from buying them. I've had multiple chances, and I'm happy with the Storm Arenas that I've picked up. And I'm not stopping. I've got a couple Storm Arenas on pre-order because like I love the idea of filling out fighting rosters with the Storm Arenas of the stuff that I'm not getting from Jada. That I absolutely love that idea. But they're very, very, very good figures. I just can't justify what I already have double dipping in that line in particular. Multiple Batmans, I could sometimes justify. Batman has went through a lot of changes, and I've been part of a lot of those changes. Could I do that with Ryu? I don't think I could. So Tila can't Spider-Man pose. No, she absolutely cannot. Which is a negative if you consider the way that that person ran around in the movies. She was very athletic, jumping, tucking, rolling, moving, fighting, like, and she very much has a midsection that moves. She's not an Arnold Schwarzenegger type. She's not a big person that like almost never moves their midsection, is picking things up and stuff like that. She's not that person. So while you can get away with something like that with this, you can't necessarily get away with it with her and sell it to me. It doesn't work. I don't think that it works. It is something that I'm on. It's my biggest concern with the Mattel line is that I'm already seeing that. All right, I'm going to head out. I'll have to watch the rest of the live later. Have a great rest of your week, guys. Later on, man. But that Flash is the buffest man alive. Dude, they took a guy who was basically a bodybuilder. He was already a big guy who very blatantly must work out, who's a fairly big actor, and they put him in a buff suit. It's so weird to me. Every time I see that, it makes no sense. That's because I'm the only one usually picking Motu, because I'm not just your friend. I'm a real fan, not a real fan, though. He changed his name. You know that? He changed his name. I don't think he goes by that anymore. We're going to open Gordon. Call down old Bill's ass. Let's see. I disagree. Bob Hastings, Jim Gordon from Batman, the animated series, is better, I feel. I can't. No way. Now, I don't disagree that he sounds good and everything, but that Gordon, here's my argument as to why this is a better Gordon than the animated series Gordon. Because while you might like that Gordon, and you may have grew up with it, and you may have a nostalgia around it or something to that extent, or you just really feel like it's the best animated series, so you give him a lot of credit that he doesn't deserve, he is incompetent. That Gordon pretty much sits in his office. And then when he does go out into the streets, he's not accomplishing anything. He's just now standing in the street. He doesn't do anything that I could think of. There's a caveat here. He doesn't do anything I could think of in the entirety of the series, even once, that I could lay down as competency. He reads a couple police reports. Oh yeah, it says here, blah, blah, blah. And he gives that to Batman. He talks to him. They never really necessarily figure anything out together. Sometimes he'll say something and Batman will be like, oh, this is the answer. And he'll be like, what? Why? Because he can't do it on his own. He can't. He's incompetent. His whole job in the series was to, like, get beat up, stand on roofs, stand in streets, sit in office. He has a great voice. There's no human quality or competency to the character. Unless, here's the caveat, he is Dream Gordon. If we see Gordon through Batman's eyes, he's an incredibly competent officer that easily has the ability, if anything should ever happen, to take the Batman down if he wanted to. Batman thinks that Gordon is such a competent officer and such a good detective that if he ever figured it out, if he ever pieced it together, and with the power of the Gotham police force, he could easily take out the Batman. Batman only exists in Batman's mind in that universe because Gordon allows it. That is not true. No way ever. I have not seen anything in that series to make me believe that Gordon could actually accomplish what he does in that dream if the real world was in his way. How many criminals do we actively see apprehended by law enforcement in that series? Like, Bullet got himself a guy or two. One guy even came back to be a pain later on, specifically for him. Gordon arrested is it nobody? Did he arrest nobody the whole show unless they were specifically handed to him by the Batman? Did they ever catch a single criminal on a criminal list that whole show? Because Gordon did in the movies. They catch all kinds of people. Their jail cells are full of people that the Gotham police apprehended. But, like, the animated series, Gordon, his cops, they may as well be decoration. Like, they don't do anything except for, like, tell Batman, good luck, I guess. Like, I know that it's a superhero show. I get it. I 100% get it. But it's a superhero movie. And they don't make him incompetent. He's going after criminals. He's actively looking for things. He's doing police work. He's on the streets. He's the first guy to go down into the sewers. He discovers Bane and Bane's activities. He holds a resistance faction against Bane and Bane's activities. And he doesn't back down for anybody. And in a way, the Batman does exist in Gordon City because Gordon allows it. That is different in his universe. With the power of the police department, had he wished to crack down 100% on Batman before Batman had an airplane, he probably could have caught the Batman. They just didn't know what they were up against right off the bat. So he got away the first time that he revealed himself. And then when he drove around the streets in a tank. So, like, but then, like, the police are key in apprehending the Joker. the police are key in apprehending the Joker that night, even if the Joker wanted to be caught, which we can argue the actual level of planning that it would have taken for a man that has no plan to do what he supposedly did. But he didn't know Gordon was alive. He didn't know. Little things like that played out in that universe, in those three movies, make this guy very competent, and he makes arrests and he does things that are on a level of competency. Batman the Animated Series, I'm actually having trouble finding a time that, like, did Gordon ever save Batman? Did Gordon arrest anybody that wasn't handed to him? Did Gordon solve a case? He's window dressing. I don't know. That's my argument against that Gordon. He has a fantastic voice, and it does a lot of heavy lifting. And the series is so good that you're prone to look past a lot of the stuff that I brought up. I'm almost positive that you do. And I'm counting myself when I say you do. There's a lot that I look back and I'm like, man, I really liked that Gordon. But if I'm trying real hard to pin it down in my head, I can't think of a single time that he accomplished anything. Bullock accomplished more and was out on the streets more and was more competent than Gordon ever was in that series. We have episodes dedicated specifically to Bullock being the guy Bullock is, but actually accomplishing things as a cop. We don't have a single episode dedicated to Gordon doing things like Gordon is like going to birthday parties with the mayor and like showing up at Wayne Manor for charity events, and he doesn't do anything. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind when I think back on it. It really does. Not trying to discredit him, not trying to hate your choice, but like, I can't. There's no way I could put that Gordon over him. They got a few guys off screen, like that time Bullock was a mall Santa and made sure to give a kid a toy for locking up the kid's dad. See, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, like he gets dedicated episodes to like being the kind of person he is, but like doing his job in some level of competency. And even him being a good cop actually comes back to bite him when somebody comes back trying to kill him later on. And little things like that, like, and in the movie, when the cops do turn against Batman, Bullock came closer to catching the bat in real life than anybody else ever did in that whole show in terms of being cops. Bullock led the charge that almost caught the Batman in Mask of the Phantasm. Almost got him. None of the other cops accomplish anything Batman-wise. And he's actually against the Batman from the beginning. Bullock doesn't like the Batman. He was part of the sting with Harvey Dent. Did Gordon actually catch or do anything with Harvey Dent? Because I thought for sure that was another apprehended Batman villain. I thought Batman caught him and basically handed him to Dent. I don't remember a single time that Batman stepped back and let the cops do their job. Ever. That whole show. Not once. I cannot remember one time. If that's true, I would have to rewatch the Harvey Dent first line of episodes where he becomes Two-Face and see if Gordon was like actually instrumental. Because I have a feeling if you pluck Gordon out of that narrative and go, all right, bye, Batman just does it without him and absolutely nothing changes. Like, I can't remember a single time. And even if that is true, we have like one reference to Gordon being competent in a series that went so long that they changed the art style. Like, almost got him, but didn't. And then Batman has to get him in it. Like, I don't know, man. It's wild to me. Yeah, he's not a terrible choice. And I understand why people would pick him as a favorite, but I couldn't possibly put him over the trilogy Batman. Sorry, trilogy Gordon. I'm trying to make my wife go to Chinese. See, that's why I'm sending things on the phone. Is I'm like, hey, Chinese, because there's this Chinese restaurant that I absolutely love that's down where she is. And when she gets done doing what she's doing on Sundays, sometimes I like to go out there and meet up with her because it's like the best Chinese. And she's not answering. And I have a feeling that by the time she answers, she will have just gotten out, and her waiting would not make sense for me to like drive down there. Oh, that's interesting. That explains it. I've probably missed her now. It didn't send. I sent her a message, said, Chinese, I can meet you. And then, like, it just gave me a warning saying that at 11:40 when I sent the message didn't send. So, fantastic. I haven't been talking to her. For some reason, it was not sending. Awesome. We'll see what she says. Now she's probably going to be like, I'm already on my way home, and then I'm not going to get Chinese, and then I'm going to be sad-faced. Oh, let me get all the way off of that thing. Oh my gosh, I love it. So now I gotta find Spider-Man throwing a punch and Gordon catching perps. What else you want to add to a pile of crap on this side of the Sentai pile? Right, because I made that argument with Scott. I told him Spider-Man does not land, or probably even so much as throw even one punch in the entirety of that series. He doesn't do it. And he was trying to tell me that he does. He definitely does. I don't think he does. I think it was a mandate that he was not allowed to punch, so that didn't happen. And now I'm curious, if I was to rewatch the entirety of the Batman series, does Gordon competently apprehend anybody in an entire series? I wonder if you're right. I wonder if I'm supposed to add that to the argument now. Come on, wife person. I likes Chinese. LOL. To be fair, it's more something I would do on my own time. He kicks. Now he will shoulder charge a guy. He has tackled people. He will wrestle with people. I think he does that, like you said, he does that swinging kick. For some reason, they allowed that. They would allow him to swing with max velocity off of like a higher platform and like kick directly both feet into a bad guy. That's okay. That's okay. But he was not allowed to punch anybody. I think that was actually mandated that they would cancel the show. Spider-Man was not allowed to punch anybody the whole show. I actually think that was written into like it was like literally mandated. I'm telling you, he throws a punch to break a wall or to TKO a random robot during the Carnage story. But he never punches anybody. And I also think when he punches a door, I think it's insinuated. I don't know if you even get to see it because I like my mind's eye. I could be very wrong about this. I haven't watched the series for a minute, but I feel like you would see like where the door falls down, and you would see that his hand was because he just punched it. But we don't actually even get to see that because I think it was written in like the stuff, like the paperwork that they were given, that he can't punch anything because kids would like go around punching. Like I feel like that was actually written somewhere that he wasn't allowed to do it. But I could be wrong. They may have gotten away with it if it's a wall or a door or a robot, because just like Wolverine can cut things up if they're robots. But he, of course, can't fight anybody with any level of competence otherwise. Yeah, but he doesn't punch the spot. That's yeah, he punches, and even in that episode, does like even in that episode, yeah, like he can't do it. I'm almost positive it's actually written. There was like very serious like mandates that were drawn out for that series that they said if you do any of these things, we will cancel the series. And one of them, I think, written in the paperwork is he cannot physically punch anybody. And I think they played with it a little bit here and there, like trying to insinuate punches or something like that, but I don't think they actually got to do it even one time. People know, but your argument is that he never throws a single punch. Okay, hitting a wall or door counts as throwing one. That's kind of fair. That's how I've jacked up my own hand hitting walls. Yes. I also have. I broke my hand on a wall once. Yes, I understand. I broke it on a person too, but but a wall. Yes. So I'm gonna see if I can't call her. I want Chinese. I don't know why, but I friggin' want it. Okay. Like I'm sitting here, I got James Gordon and Batman and Spider-Man changing into a black symbiote suit, and now I want Chinese, and I just want it. Okay, I just want it. So I am gonna get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. I plan to sprinkle in a couple of normal episodes. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but I need to get some of these down a little bit. Like the Marvel has gotten a little bit out of control. It needs to go down a little bit. There's a couple of figures that I need opened so that I can do shots that I want to do, and like things that aren't getting voted, like the Star Trek and the Motu. They need to get single episodes so they can get done. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate everybody stopping by and hanging out, and we should be back next Sunday. I don't know. I feel like I remember something coming up that next weekend is like busy. We'll see. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get out of here.